to that. But in this webinar, I want you to have a chance to learn about Rexis Biotech's novel drug delivery platform, the fused polymorph nanofiber, which has been approved for use in the US. You'll also discover the exciting opportunities and challenges that Rexis Biotech faces as it expands into new markets and partnerships with leading brands such as 3Chi. But I do want to introduce you to our special guest speaker, Keith Bushfeild, the CEO of Rexis Biotech. Keith is a visionary leader. I've been following his career for over 15 years now, and he's really been a pioneer in the field of nanotechnology. He has over 20 years of experience in research and development, product innovation, and business management, and is the driving force behind Rexis Biotech's mission to create high quality, consistent, and effective product that enhances the health and wellness of consumers worldwide. So Keith will share with us his insights on Rexis Biotech technology, products, and future plans. He will also answer some of your questions at the end of the webinar, so please stay tuned to the end, or as I said, pop it into the chat and we'll try and get those questions asked. But we want you to be amazed by Rexis Biotech groundbreaking potential. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Keith Bushfeild to the webinar. Keith, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Victoria, thank you. I'll go through this as quick as possible so we can get onto questions if you want. So Rexis is a biotech firm. We've been working in the cannabis space now through different entities for the past 5-6 years, in the biotech space for the past 15 years. This is a culmination of a lot of different technologies, a lot of different ideas that we brought together to solve one of the biggest problems that we have in the market today, which is if you want to take a hydrophobic molecule, which is a molecule that doesn't absorb in water. Basically, think of your oil and salad dressing. Oil floats on the top. It doesn't mix with water. That translates to also not mixing with your body. So oil is hard to absorb in the human body. Water, obviously, much easier. So we've developed a technology where we can take a hydrophobic molecule such as THC or CBD or caffeine or nicotine, and we can take that molecule, run it through our very proprietary process, 7 steps, some patents, some trade secrets, and you get a powder at the other end that is fully, truly water soluble, not water compatible. So we can put it in water. It will assimilate in water. It does not separate. So you can put this in water, let your drink sit for 2-3 months, and it will not be settled on the bottom. So I'll kind of jump into where that's at and how the technology has evolved. So in this investment piece, we were raising $2 million. We raised $4 to $5 million to date. We have a very diverse group of people that work on this team. I've been in big corporate America down to small startups, and the executive team that we have follows me in that same type of genre. Everything from small to big. We're cash flow positive. Rexis has only been officially going for the past 1.5 years, and we're moving on to cash flow positive already. We have multi-state strategic alignments and distribution partners. We're currently in about 12 states across the country in both our THC division as well as our hemp divisions. Highly profitable to this point. We have a very high profit margin. The products that we make are in demand, which allows us to obviously drive a commanding force in terms of how much we charge for these. As I said before, a lot of trade secrets. We have 7 trade secrets infused with a patent in the beginning. So very hard to replicate and do what we do. And everything we do, we keep in-house. So that helps protect our IP. And this is a rapidly growing market. Some of our partners are very massive players. They're hundreds of millions in revenue, and they chose us to be their engine for a lot of their product lines. So we can kind of go into that. A little bit about myself. I've been in startups and large corporations for 27 years. Everything from, like I said, the small ones to the big ones. Again, a little bit about everybody we have, and everybody we have here really shows a large, diverse group of people in terms of experiences from different genres of industry. So this allows us to get a much bigger pool to draw from, some great people here that can help us focus on where we're going, experiences from their past and helping us grow. So let me just jump into what it is. Organic plant product, you try and take THC, put it into water, it doesn't absorb well. Cannabinoids, CBD as an example, which I can jump into, very low bioavailability. What does that mean? It doesn't absorb well in the body. Cannabinoids, 4 to 20% bioavailable. So you take 100 milligrams of a product, you might only get 4. So it's really that bad. Epidiolex is the only approved FDA CBD drug. It's for children's epilepsy. That drug shows a bioavailability from their own trials of about 9%. So just as an example, how difficult it is to get into the body and how it doesn't work very well. They taste bad, all those kind of things. Our technology is much different. We do not use an emulsion-based technology. We have, again, very proprietary piece. We did preclinical trials with the Eli Group and University of Mississippi, where we showed a 48% bioavailable for the exact same CBD type additive that Epidiolex did. So that's 523% more effective. We have onset in as little as 5.8 minutes, shows in the body very quickly. You don't have to wait around for an hour for your medicinal or recreational product to work. We use and utilize sublingual and buccal absorption. The way our molecules are developed, it goes in the cheek and the tongue much faster than going through ingesting it. And you have the first pass metabolism issues where the liver breaks it down. And also cheaper to make. So a little bit of a really quick overview of how that is a problem, where we're going with the market and where we can go to. I won't have everybody read these, but just lots of different people that are in the industry have come out and said, you know, our product stands alone. There's nothing like it out there. We have lots of video testimonials from many partners from all over the world that say this is like nothing that's out there. Happy Valley, we like this one. Happy Valley's been a great partner of ours in Massachusetts. They're in our THC license division. You know, they tried to find products for a very long time that would help them bring their products to market better, more reasonable, work faster. And they found us and have been, you know, one of our biggest champions. Some in the news, we are getting some press these days. We do something nobody else does. So one of the big advantages, what makes it so different. So Rexis improves taste, CBD, caffeine, valerian, nicotine, they all, you don't really eat nicotine, but all of those taste terrible. Our technology removes a lot of the terpene flavor profiles with them and allows you to have an inert subject. I can take THC or CBD, put it in water. You can't smell it, you can't taste it, and you can't see it, but it's still active. So that separates us from everybody. If we can make water taste like water, imagine what we can do with some flavoring or in food or etc. It's fast acting. Because it's in the bloodstream in less than 5 minutes or around 5 minutes, you get a much faster uptake in the human body. You don't have to wait 35, 45, an hour for a product to work. Its potency is what it is. So you get potency that we develop and we say it's a 5 milligrams, you're going to get 5 milligrams, but it's going to act better than 5 milligrams. You're going to feel it more because you're getting more of that active ingredient in the body instead of, you know, just excreting it. And then precision, like I just said, we are very accurate in terms of what we develop. When we put 5 milligrams in, it does not stick to the can. We don't have potency issues. You don't have loss of integrity within the product line as it sits. THC, nicotine, caffeine, they're all known for dramatically degrading. We have stability studies over 2 years where it's degrading 7-8%. Current market verticals, and we are in every one of these verticals, some of them more than others. Hemp-derived products obviously is a big piece for us. Coffee, we have a new partnership with that. Nicotine, one of our biggest, one that makes me the most excited. The marijuana industry, which is obviously psilocybin. The psychedelic space is expanding at light speed these days, and I would call ourselves on the forefront of some of that. Functional mushrooms, we're doing a lot of work with some great functional mushroom companies, as well as Kratom. Kratom is really starting to get back on the scene as a great alternative to opioid addiction, things like that. So we can help a medicinal application there. Some of our partnerships, 3Chi, they are the largest hemp company on planet Earth. They'll do $250 million or roughly this year in sales. They're a great organization. We build everything for them that is beverage based. We are currently working on a brand new line of hemp beverages that's going to be released in days. They're making millions of cans that are going to go across the country. First person underneath there, they are a functional mushroom company, Lion's Mane, Reshi. They are having great success and found our product and our technology and are now able to take it to a new level because of what we can do for them. Some of our other partnerships, Happy Valley, Red Bud, these are on the THC side. So these are licensed THC operators in Michigan and Massachusetts. We do a bunch of products for them. And as you can see, every product we do for them ends up winning awards. So we separate ourselves not only by efficacy and how well it works, but we dramatically separate ourselves based on taste and feel. And when you're using a consumer product, if it tastes terrible, you may be going to get one sale of that. Some of our partners, and so a lot of these brands, a lot of these brands you might not know, but we add to this every day. If we had to update this slide every day, it'd be a lot of work, but tons and tons of products that are developed using our engine. We call it our engine. And we do build our own car too, but we also look at it and said we can build the engine for other people's vehicle, product, car, however you want to look at that analogy. We recently entered the High Spirit Awards. The High Spirit Awards are done by LA Spirit Awards, one of the bigger award shows where they do awards for different drinks, spirits, things like that. They had a cannabis division this year. We entered it. We won every single category that we entered. We had a couple best of shows, platinum awards. By far, we cleaned up that award show. So we're very proud of that. Again, a gun to show you how well it works, how fast it works, etc., how great it tastes. Other awards that we've won with different product lines around the country, everything from gummies to stick packs to beverages. Total project revenue. So this is some of our internal brands, K7, which is a Kratom line, Squared, which is just about to go on the shelves. I would say in the next 24 hours, you'll start to see it in shelves in New York State. Morph Monkey, which is another brand of product lines that are coming out in Voyage, the psychedelic side. And this is just a small snippet of the development and how big this market has gotten in a very short amount of time. Some of our trial stuff. So this is our CBD trial I talked about earlier, 523% more effective than Epidiolex. Epidiolex sold $1 billion last year or close to it, $1,800 a dose. We make that same thing for 40 cents. So it goes to show the dramatic market share that's potential there. That is much more on the pharmaceutical side. So it's not a low-hanging fruit. It takes a little while to do. Whether we license this technology to someone else that's going to do it, this was done to show that there was the ability for us to do it.
Keith, can I just check? I'm right in saying you have 3 divisions. Pharmacy is one of yours, but that's the later one. It's the consumer ones, which are your first 2.
Yeah, correct. There's 3 divisions. We have a pharmaceutical division, a retail division, and our license division. So our license division is our THC partners around the world. We also have a license division, licensed partner now in Thailand. So we're building a large facility in Thailand with some of our partners there that is going to do CBD, nicotine, caffeine, all of the type of stuff using our ingredients. And then we have our pharmaceutical division, which is really doing the pipeline drugs, pro drugs, where research development and a lot more time takes. And then we have our retail division, which is our consumer packaged goods. So everything from our beverages to drinks and edibles and things like that, whether we do them ourselves or we also partner with someone. And then one of our this piece here is one of my most exciting pieces. We call it NX1, Teroenzine. This did a small clinical trial, 141 people, placebo-controlled. And it showed about 96% would stop smoking for more than 4 hours with 1 dose. So this is a beverage ingredient that we can put into water. It's colored in those vials there that you see, but it can be put into water. You can't smell it, see it, or taste it. Why is this important? It's not only just that it's a medicinal application, but for the people that smoke that are in a restaurant. on an airplane, somewhere that they cannot smoke, they cannot ingest nicotine in the same way. This is far more effective than nicotine gum. It's far more effective than a nicotine patch. And it now can be social. So when someone is at a bar and they don't have to go outside to smoke, they are on an airplane, they can't smoke. This allows so many opportunities for people to use. Much safer, much better for you than nicotine on it as a base. So very excited about this one. We do have 2 or 3 clients that are working on bringing this to market. Some of the technology, this is very brief. We don't obviously get into it too much, but we have our process, which will take that molecule, say THC, we fuse it through our own process to a delivery agent that we developed, which is basically a proprietary sugar base. And then we end up with a powder. And this powder is stable. You can store it. It doesn't degrade. It dissolves in water. And so that's the biggest piece of how we get to where we want to be. The technology allows for much rapid uptake. So you can ingest a product and then you have first pass metabolism, breaks the product down, turns the product into DT11. You get a whole bunch of different things. As an example with THC, with our process, you get most of the absorption sublingually or direct to contact. So it's much faster into the brain than it is if you were to ingest it. And again, this technology works with so many molecules. Like we have 100 plus in our repertoire of molecules, but some that are low hanging, such as the caffeine, the nicotine, the CBD, THC, because there's a readily available market for them. And so we're pushing that market first. 2 of our facilities, we have 11 or 12 partner facilities around the country. These 2 facilities are our facilities. One in Nevada does much of our R&D research facility. And then in Florida, we have a brand new canning and beverage facility that makes all of our partner brands and partner products. So basically we develop the ingredient, we build the ingredient, we refine it, we put it in cans, and then we sell it to distributors. And our partners then pay us for every single one of those steps, plus a distribution fee. So we make money from start to finish on that entire development. We do not go out of house and have somebody else be a contract packing manufacturing company for us. These are just some value comparisons. Some of the other public companies up there, we obviously have public company goals. It's how we've taken most of my companies. Rexis, at its current values, a very low market cap. Our market cap is almost valued at what our IP would be. Luxaria Bioscience, I know them well. They've never made money in their life, but this is where they're at in NASDAQ. So if we were to only compare something low like that, we would have a $50 million market cap before we even started. So if we're going to do apples to apples. And then Jazz Pharmaceuticals is who runs Epidiolex. So it just goes to show that the changes and how it's gone and where we believe we sit in this marketplace. Use of funds. I mean, this is always an organic thing. We're growing. A big part of doing this raise was not just the money, which great, we'll always put money in the coffers, but this was to really gain attention to the brands that we're building. So with Squared and Morph Monkey and Twist, 3 cheese brands, we bring them to market through a platform like this. People get to see them. People then want those products because they're consumer ready, consumer packaged goods products that have a strong sex appeal that people want to buy. They want to be associated with it. Plus, we have the heavy science side. And, we're a heavy science-based company too, but we're also consumer packaged goods because the brand at the end of the day is worth so much money. Nobody knows who made, what's in Budweiser. They just know the brand. So that's kind of this concept. These give a brief overview of kind of where we're going at, where we see it at. Our projections, this is always organic, $12 to $13 million this year. Growth potential, starting to see massive growth in the later half of this year. So contracts in 7 to 8 states already just to deliver our canned beverages. So Squared, 3Chi, etc. We're in the millions of cans already under contract. So we are well past what we think our projections were going to be. Existing shareholders were very tightly held. There's not a lot of shareholders in this. Some very primary shareholders that I won't mention, but I'm the primary shareholder, and then 2 or 3 of the other executives have a large chunk of stock as well. And then 3 primary shareholders. Some of our biggest clients are our shareholders. So I won't say who they are, but the biggest clients that we use are also shareholders. Then they want us to win, and we want them to win. So it's a good push-pull. With 3.5 million in the bank, we have a 12 million shares outstanding, and roughly what, according to market share, would be a $15-16 million valuation on 13 million this year in revenue. That revenue share model is extremely conservative. And, if you were going to do a true future discounted cash flow analysis based on that, I would give us a market cap that should be more $2.50 to $3 a share. But this round we did it at $1.25. So we did it, just get it out there, get as many people as we know to know the project, know the products, and understand the tech as we grow. So that is basically it in a nutshell.
No, thank you very much, Keith. Hopefully that gave everybody a really good overview. We can dig in and ask any specific questions. I'm actually going to start. So you've got those 2 facilities. What assets do you own within the facilities? Are those rented assets? Are they owned assets? What's the value of those?
We own all the facilities. We rent the space. We don't own the buildings, but we rent all the equipment inside. We're sitting, one of our canning machines, as an example, is probably 800 to 850,000. So we have multiple canning facilities. We have one in Nevada. We have one here. They do different things. We're in the over $2 million worth of equipment alone into where we're at.
Okay. And then are you able, and I understand if no is the correct answer, are you able to give an indication of some of the contracts, some of the volumes that you're already as in signed up?
Yeah, so we've got a contract with 3G to develop their drinks. That contract alone, it's a 1.2 million units that we started with 3 follow-up units each quarter. We'll reach 6 million units for them this year alone, this 12-month period into June of next year. That generates over $7 million in revenue, just for that contract. And then we have half a dozen like that, not that big, but other smaller ones like that. And we're in a great position now of really picking and choosing the groups that we want to go with. So contract values over the next 18 months, I would say, would dramatically exceed 20 million.
And I know we discussed this. One of the things I've just come back from, just back in June, July, I was at London Tech Week. And one of the things that I was very surprised by was in the UK, CBD water is everywhere. And I mean, that's using sort of, as you say, non-ideal technology for that. But it's on supermarket shelves, grocery store shelves in the UK. It's that mainstream. And I think, there are a number of people who see that there are some potential benefits for CBD, but there's the issue of how you actually take it, because many people don't want to smoke. And also many people don't want the THC side. Some need to, and I think your research showed that as well. So I just found it very interesting, just to see where some of the markets have gone. Any comments on that, Keith?
Yeah, it's not a Canadian or US market anymore. It is absolutely a global market. We are working in Southeast Asia, Australia, Japan, India, potentially, South Africa, Germany, Europe. It's everywhere.
Shall I just give you a globe and you can?
Yeah, it's all over the world now, and we are getting approached by a lot of these companies to say, well, look, the US did it, Canada did it. We see it starting to evolve here. There's different rules, there's different things that they're doing, but it really allows, this tech allows us to do a lot of things. Like in Australia, in India, we are working with a new energy product. So we can produce a caffeine-based energy drink that is less caffeine, works better tasting, And, one of the biggest companies on the planet is working with us on that. We don't have a deal with them yet, but we're working on it to put one together. So when we talk about blue sky, that's the blue sky where I see. We have the blue sky on the pharmaceutical side, which is, just immense. But there's a lot of heavy lifting to get us to that point. Currently, we're looking for all that low-hanging fruit that can improve our bottom line or return on investment to our shareholders. And that right now is these consumer packaged goods, because we can't make them fast enough. It's kind of where we're at.
Okay. Yeah, no, that sounds very interesting. Now, we have a good number of people on this call, so I'd love to open it up to everybody to ask questions directly to you, Keith. So if I can just ask, if you want to, you can pop it in the chat and I can ask it on your behalf, or alternatively, you can pop your hand up or just unmute yourself and ask the question. Just making sure I don't miss anybody who's asking questions. I think that may be that there's a comprehensive presentation there.
Answered everybody's questions. That'll be a first. Okay.
Well, I will continue to ask questions then,
sure.
Whilst people are crafting theirs. So sort of, you talk about exit strategy, and IPO is your preferred. Now we look at the market at the moment, and certainly, IPOs aren't are not as prevalent. What do you think would be the timeline? And I appreciate, until the paperwork goes into NASDAQ or whatever, you can't say anything, but do you have a sort of, a target exit strategy timeline?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say an IPO is a way to go. It's not necessarily what we're necessarily 100% going to do. Obviously, market conditions dictate that. Market conditions dictate timelines. However, with the current shareholders that we do have in this corporation, I believe there's a very, very strong possibility we will be acquired by them too. So we must proceed down the road like we are looking at an IPO, but whether that IPO happens and we just get gobbled up by, we have two shareholders in this corporation, which are very large and have positioned themselves not because they like me or not because they think that this would be fun to play in. They already have ideas on what they're going to do, on what they want to do. And I think they're waiting for some regulatory things to happen. They're waiting for market conditions, and they're waiting for us to expand further. And so I would, without a doubt, feel that how I've been saying it to people, there will be a liquidity event of some kind within 18 months. Okay.
It's funny, the things you just mentioned, because I've got a couple of questions come in and they directly relate to that. So first one, because you talked about regulatory, how does Keith see the regulatory landscape evolving over the coming 12 to 18 months?
I think there'll be some rules for a change, which I think we are one of those people that are putting our hands up and welcoming, because I think if you are naive enough to think that it should just keep being the Wild West, which it's kind of been, then that's wrong. So I think regulatory to a degree, but not stifling. And what I mean by that is I've been using this saying that this train left the station, the horse left the barn. There is no way they're getting it back in there. So for the government to say, oh, no, we've been letting people have this for 2 years now, 3 years, we're going to make it prohibition, isn't going to happen. It will not happen. What will happen is you're going to have regulation. So we need to, they have to be FDA facilities that the people make stuff in. They have to have warning labels. They have to be not sold to children. They have to be not marketed to children. They have to be tested. All of those things, I think, are overdue. We need all those things. So we welcome them. But I will say, as soon as we do have a framework for legality of that, the floodgates are going to open like we have never seen. And because this is going to be cannabis 2.0 only refined. So the craziness that happened in the cannabis market right when it started to go legal, this is going to eclipse that, because it's going to do away with dispensary controls and all the things that limit THC and cannabis growth at the moment. And you're going to have it open to convenience stores and stores. And again, whatever the rules dictate, but I foresee over the next 18 to 24 months, not a giant change. I think we'll start to have places like New York have recently enacted some new rules and some new guidelines on what they want, and other states will do the same. The Farm Bill, which makes a lot of this legal, is up for review, but from all the people that we've talked to, that isn't going to happen anytime soon. They're still trying to figure it out. The FDA has recently sent a questionnaire around to operators and manufacturers to say, can you give us some input? And when they do that, that's a long drawn out process. I don't see it happening tomorrow. But are there changes coming? Absolutely. And we welcome them.
Well, the next question actually ties in nicely to that. So what's your next major milestone, and what is the primary hurdle in your way to reaching that?
You know, I'd love to say it's the pharmaceutical side, but I think that's even further down the road. I think we will license that to somebody fairly quickly. I think our big milestone will be a true multi-market adoption of the product. We currently have 12 markets, I think, signed. So we have distributors in 12 markets. I think the milestone will be delivering every one of those markets with a product line that is delivered, weekly. Our forecasts internally are getting up to the 30,000-40,000 cases a month. And that is massive distribution amounts. And the numbers that we target, or we hope to target in our pro forma, don't even start to scratch that big a number. So I think the milestone for us is in every one of those states that we're in, 12 states, showing that it's there, along with, we do have 3 or 4 other brands that we're bringing to market. And I think that will be another milestone for them. But I think it's adoption by a lot of states is where I'm really pushing, and adoption by states just translates into revenue.
Another question, and I have to say, each of these questions have come from different people. So this is interesting that people are looking at things very broadly. So how is THC licensing structured in regulated cannabis states?
Well, it's difficult. So THC, true licensed THC, is handled by each state independently. So California has a cannabis control board. Massachusetts has a cannabis control board. They all call themselves something differently. Each state has their own rules, their own way of doing it, their own tax structure, independent of every other state. Because federally in the United States, it's not legal. It can be sold in each state. It can't be transferred across state lines. So what you end up with has fragmented market with companies all over the place and independent operators. You do have some multi-state operators, MSOs, that are getting licenses in multiple states, but then you have places like New York that don't want those guys. They want it to be, they want to give it to different segments of the market that they believe would benefit from having a cannabis license. And I think New York or New Jersey had a deal where you couldn't get one unless you had a drug conviction in the past. So they were trying to bring people back in, and every state's different. Every state's doing their own thing. So the regulatory body in the THC market is difficult. It's overtaxed. It's hard to control. The black market in California is way bigger than the licensed market because they've tried to tax so much. So that's what we see in hemp. And that's why it's growing so much, because it's a national program. It's in every state. Yes, every state, some have their own rules, but it's federally legal on a federal basis. So you can transport it across state lines. You can manufacture it in one state and deliver it. So there's a bunch of differences between those two.
And I mean, this actually leads in nicely. Can I just say, you're all setting up these questions perfectly. So thank you for that. Are the products you're bringing to market legal hemp-derived Delta 8, Delta 10, or CBD products, which I think is sort of we're alluding to anyway?
Yeah, I mean, we've dabbled in every one of those. If you ask CBD has come out and said it's not legal to be in food or water by the FDA. That's the only drug that or molecule that they've decided. So we do have a CBD client, and that we don't market it ourselves, but we have a client that we manufacture CBD ingredient for, and they sell that in Walgreens or stores all over the country. So can't remember all the stores. So that's one brand. It's called Icor. And then sorry, Victoria, I lost train of thought what the question was.
It was about bringing legal, market legal
right.
hemp-derived Delta 8, Delta 10, or CBD products.
So we used to do a lot of Delta 8 when it was popular for the hemp, and primarily we did it for 3Chi. 3Chi does not do much D8 with us anymore. It's just markets have their own cycles. So the cycle has moved from D8, which was legal, and D9, people hadn't really figured out how to put it on the market yet. And now D9 is the one. And D9 is basically an exact copy of THC. So it's the same molecule, but D9 or hemp 9 comes from the hemp plant, and THC comes from marijuana plant. So the levels have to be lower. There's a whole bunch of rules. It has to be less than 3% total volume in the hemp space, but in the cannabis space, it doesn't. But again, you're under the cannabis, you're under the license for marijuana and cannabis.
The Icor is in Kroger and Costco. I've just had notification.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for Keith? Okay. So, you know, if you would like more information, there is a link, the WeFunder link, which gives you the full investor information. We will also be providing to everybody today, not only this recording, but also the deck. And of course, if you have any further questions, please just reply back and we can set up another meeting with Keith. If you want to delve deeper. I know sometimes these open forums are great to sort of get to know what's going on. Sometimes people want to have that one-to-one. But on the other side, because of setting this up as an online investment, it does allow people to literally go online and invest, which is sort of a much smoother process. And as we heard from Keith, one of the key reasons behind that is you know, to build brand awareness and to build not just of Rexis, but also of all the brands that you've seen today. Okay. Keith, any last comments for
thank you
our
everybody for
attendees
joining.
today?
Yeah, thank you for joining, and we're just excited about what we're doing. So you know, again, the biggest thing for this WeFunder was to really get awareness out there for the product lines that are being developed. This technology, which is completely different than anybody that is on the marketplace now. And so we're very excited about where things are going. So, and I appreciate everybody coming today.
Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Have a great day, everyone.